Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is your host, Sharifa Hardy of the Roundtable Talk Show. I have a very interesting show for you today. I have some lovely young ladies backstage I can't wait to introduce you to. But before I bring on our guests, I want you to go ahead and share the show because friends don't let friends miss out on the Roundtable Talk Show. We have so much information to share with you that we want to make sure all of our guests provide you with the information that you seek, answer the questions that you have, and provide you tips, strategies, and guidance for your business and your life. Even during quarantine, you may be wondering how to do it or how to work with your business, but by talking to our guests, you'll be able to find out how to succeed even during a quarantine. I want to go ahead and introduce our first guest. Our first guest is Rosalind Booker. And Rosalind Booker is going to talk to us not only about her industry, which is realty. She is the CEO of Arbrook Realty, but she's also going to talk to us about the basics of building wealth. Good morning, Rosalind. How are you?
Good morning, Sharifa. How are you? And I'm so glad to be here this morning. Thank you for the opportunity.
You are so welcome. I love your with the backdrop and your bright colors and you going back and forth. It's like you're almost in this, I can't even know how to describe it, but it's like something from this other world going back and forth. I love it. I love it. I love it. So talk to us a little bit about yourself, Rosalind, who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm the principal broker, CEO of Arbrook Realty, and we are a full service real estate company in the North Collin County area, and we serve surrounding cities here in the North DFW area. So originally, I never dreamed of real estate being a field of career for me, but I can't say that I believe in happenstance either. So at a crossroads in my life, transitioning from corporate America to entrepreneurship, I had met some people in our church that were in the mortgage and real estate industry. And it just really sounded like a good fit that real estate would be a tool that I could use to help people birth their dreams and build legacies. And that's our motto, is that we help others birth dreams and build legacies. And, I have a story behind, my passion for real estate. If we have enough time here, I can definitely share a little bit more, but I always say that it was my ground floor, Sharifa, that ground floor, which I do literally mean my garage floor experience with me and my mom, who was a single parent, that catapulted me into entrepreneurship and my passion for home ownership, because, we were the couch surfers, those that were homeless that really can't be, accounted for in that homeless count. And, laying there on the floor with my mother during a season, I just remember in my little finite mind and the relationship that I did have with the Lord saying, goodness, if you get me off of this floor, God, I will never be back on this floor. And thank God I haven't in that way. And I just have a passion for every, especially woman, especially single moms, those that are in careers, to see them realize their dream. And, we help families, and, my heart's desire with a collaborative relationship right now with one of my commercial partners is to not only build, but develop affordable workforce housing, which is a real dire need, especially here in the North Texas area. So again, I really thank you for having me here, and we'll make our rounds, and I'll begin to just share a little bit more.
Well, what you have shared thus far has been very interesting. You answered a lot of the why questions I typically ask, like, why are you so passionate about this? One of the reasons why I enjoy sitting down with entrepreneurs and business owners is because they may tell you about their product or their service, but I'm like, okay, but why are you so passionate about this one? Why this one more than anything else? And so I love how you so eloquently put couch surfing. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when you have that experience, one of the things that you're looking for is stability. So that's something that you are able to offer people. Why is women such a focus for you, though?
Women are so important to me because as a young woman, you know, trying to find my way, I was nearly a 4.0 student, even in difficult times with my mom. So being smart had never, really been an issue. And I'm not tooting a horn, I'm just sharing my truth, but didn't have guidance, didn't have wisdom. So I kind of stumbled through life haphazardly, making a whole lot of mistakes, not really knowing who I was, what my purpose was. And to help women, number one, help find their identity so that they know what they're passionate about and going after their dreams fearlessly. And I've had to overcome a lot of fear, face my giants, eliminate excuses. Yeah, we were on the floor. Yeah, I come from a single parent at home. But how long, Sharifa, was I and other women, how long will we let that be the reason? Maybe we did come out of a marriage, 2 or 3, 4 or 5 relationships. Maybe we were single parents ourselves and kind of repeated that generational cycle, but the buck stops. And that's, really my heart's desire is to help women stay focused, get aligned with their purpose, cancel out every excuse, overcome their fear, and just go for it.
Mhm. Why would you say that many women have that type of fear? Because one of the things, and I'm going to allow you to answer that question, but one of the things that I found just working in the community, especially with a lot of homeless people, we have services, we have ways that we feel that we can bring them back into society. But I always feel that the first thing you have to offer is hope, where a person actually believes that they have the ability to change their circumstances. So when I hear you mention the fear, I'm like, okay, you understand that even though they may have the resources, they may fear that they even have the ability. Have you found that to be true?
Oh, absolutely. We can create policy and procedures, we can give people to-do lists, but that's very much surface success.
Mhm.
Success really, truly is an inside job. And not until we deal with who we are on the inside and get healing. There's so many levels of healing to overcome. And there's so many voices that we listen to. We have to muzzle the mouth of those on the outside. And Sharifa, what's really important is muzzle the mouth on the inside. What we say
Mhm.
to ourselves really matters. And
Mhm.
so, I've just, I'm an elder in our ministry at our church, the River Church, Plano. And just have really came up in that vein. And a lot of people say, Raj, you really have to leave your beliefs, don't be so passionate and voiceful about your beliefs, religious beliefs, as they say. But it's not really religious, it's my relationship with God, Sharifa, that has really helped shape my being. And that's really what I live, and that's how I guide my life. And it's really a principle for Arbrook Realty. And it's a little bit too much for some, but I realize we'll be too much for some, not enough for others. So we may as well just be enough for how God made us.
No, I think that's beautiful. I think the one thing that we all have to be is true to who we are, whatever that is, whatever we make that be, or whatever we decide that is, just be true to that. But when you mention your religious beliefs, how does that play a role with Arbrook Realty?
Oh goodness, it is the foundation. I mean, Jesus is my CEO, and I build my business upon His principles.
Mhm.
And it starts with integrity, honesty, and I know that's kind of cliche-ish, and it's what's in everybody's motto and policy procedure, pretty much. But no, we have to live it here.
Mhm.
We really live it. We don't treat people's lives like transactions, and I
Mhm.
know we have to operate on a transactional basis to help people get to the finish line. I mean,
Mhm.
that's the truth. But we have done life with people,
Mhm.
in terms of our business, in terms of now, some of the people I helped 23 years ago,
Mhm.
some of their children are now grown, and I'm helping their children's children. So, real estate is just one way to gain generational wealth. It kind of stops the bleeding, and it kind of stops the hemorrhaging of just wasting money and making landlords richer and richer and richer, funding their children's college, funding the landlord's dreams, funding the landlord's next bucket list vacation. And one of the things I'm very passionate and adamant about is teaching home ownership in such a way that people understand that the equity every month that they can build, not only by making their mortgage payment, but by just being in a cutting edge leading industry, especially here in Texas. We're the leader in job creations, and where there are jobs, there's going to always be real estate, there's going to always be growth, and that equity is what can fund their own children's college education, their next business, etc. So we're very passionate about teaching the wealth building aspect.
I can see you're passionate about it. I love having guests on the show who are passionate about who they are and what they do. And I can see that you are. I have more questions for you, but I want to go ahead and introduce our next guest, especially since we started to go on the line of education. So I want to introduce Helena James, who is coming to us all the way from the Middle East, but she is an education consultant, and she's going to let us know about her work. Good morning, Helena. How are you? Okay.
Good morning, everyone. I'm fine, thank you. I'm really very honored to be here. And Rosalind, you just changed my whole vibe. I was planning to speak about something else, but everything that you said, building wealth together, back to the basics, real estate.
Yeah.
My collaborative is called The Village. And single parenting, you're speaking about ministries. I established a ministry for the empowerment for women, children, and families. And basically, you brought in about your faith and belief. Right now, I'm sitting here in a room I just set up today with different altars inside of here, literally. I placed my books all around the room, put the energy here, and put my books here. And one of the books that I was looking at, when I opened it up, it was speaking about the Exodus. And the book that it came from is a woman's Bible. So I put that there in front of my I said, I'll come back and read it later. Then I said, let me just, get ready for this meeting. So all of the energy is right here now, I feel.
That's interesting. I like that. So you were just motivated to get up this morning and make that change?
Yeah. That's it. Yes. I was really praying on a lot of things, and I was just sending my voice out. Actually, I was bringing my voice from within myself, waking up myself, saying, today is it. No more waiting. I'm not waiting for anyone anymore. I'm here, and I'm the first one in line for myself. And that's what I woke up and took the initiative today about.
So tell us about what you go ahead, Roslin.
No, Helena, that's very profound what you said. That
and
word
also
awakening or awoke, and that's really important. When the light bulb goes off inside of us, some people say maybe it's an epiphany, some people say, hey, it's a revelation. But once the wool or the cobwebs have been removed from our eyes, it's really non-stopping us from that point. So I really like what you said.
Yes.
Helena, are you with us?
And yes, I'm here.
Okay, I wanted you to elaborate. What are you working on these days? What are you working on these days?
Are you speaking to me, Helena?
Yes.
Currently, my goal is to upload my book and my drawings to a platform so that I can finally become a published author, to start putting my works out there. I build schools, and I'm establishing an online school at present for boys. That's what I'm working on currently.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. That's interesting. Have you looked
And
into,
in the midst, yeah, I'm listening.
have you looked into
There's a
KDP?
delay, so
Have you looked into KDP Publishing, Amazon's publishing company?
that's what I'm doing.
Mm,
And that's the one that's giving me the most trouble.
okay, well, let's see if we can get you some help.
But
We're gonna,
I know that it's for me to,
yes, let's see
yeah,
if we
that's
can,
what I sent out a SOS yesterday.
yes,
SOL.
yes. Let's see if we can get Helena some assistance. We're gonna have more questions for you. I want to go ahead and introduce our
Yeah.
next guest. Our next guest has an amazing story, and she's a serial entrepreneur who has been in the industry for years. We're going to talk about her journey when she started out in PR, working for Ralph Lauren and Gucci, and how she started her own business and her latest news that she's going to share with us. Please welcome Lauren Wilson. Good morning, Lauren. How are you?
Good morning, Sharifa. I'm doing well. I'm doing well, and so inspired by the other women on this panel. And I've just already learned so much from them. So I'm really excited to continue the dialogue. But as you mentioned, yes, I live in New York City. I've lived here for 8 years, and I have put blood, sweat, and tears into the luxury fashion industry, which is a difficult, very exclusive type of industry. So it's been quite a journey. So my company is called Dora Maar, and it's a luxury fashion consignment platform that I started a year ago. So I'm a very new entrepreneur, so I am learning every single day. But the premise around Dora Maar was really to make a lifestyle-driven luxury platform for secondhand clothing. I have worked in luxury fashion and I want to buy everything, but as we all know, it's very, very expensive and it really prices people out. So I've always been a fan of secondhand clothing. But unfortunately, that kind of experience that came with shopping secondhand felt very second rate. It's very commodified. You're digging through bins of things when you're online, searching eBay or other sites. You know, you're kind of getting that like discounted experience. And I wanted to change that. I wanted to give women the accessibility to shop these beautiful luxury items and feel like they're shopping it firsthand. Luxury is such a beautiful story. I mean, they're made by the most creative teams in the world. The women that wear these designers have such amazing stories. And I wanted to continue that story on in my platform. So we really created this site where we kind of have our, we call them our muses, our consigners, basically have their own closet page on our site, and they talk about where they wear their clothing, how they would style it. We have them come in, we shoot them in their clothing. So it really is feeling like you're a part of their world and their closet, and by extension, their own stories and their own journeys. And so Dora Maar really rests heavily on community. And I'm trying to build that sort of tight-knit community within luxury, and I think it's something that's missing. Luxury has been, you know, headed up by these massive conglomerates. Few people make the decisions, few people can wear the clothing, and I wanted to almost democratize that, but still have that luxury aesthetic. So that's really where Dora Maar is headed. And as you mentioned, the recent news, yesterday we just got published in Vogue. It's a profile on Dora Maar and myself, and I am kind
congratulations.
of feeling, I was an intern for Vogue my junior year of college in their LA office. And it was a very intense experience working under, you know, the whole helm of Condé Nast and Vogue and everything. And, you know, it feels pretty cool to think about, you know, I was back in an intern closet at 20 years old, and now I'm 30 and being featured for my own company. So, you know, I'm really excited to hear how everyone's journey has played out and what's really, how they dug their heels into the hard times and kind of turned it into to the next step. So I'm excited to elaborate on that.
You told us the end of the story, what you're doing now, and congratulations. I want to know, I want to go back to
of course.
What got you into fashion initially?
I always try to pinpoint that time where I became obsessed with luxury clothing, and I can't seem to pinpoint it, but I just remember probably in high school, I used to make these crazy Christmas lists that looked like a Vogue magazine and do them in red and green and put images and tie them in bows. My parents would like take it to the mall and they're like, our daughter's crazy. I don't know what she's asking for. Like, we can't buy any of this. But I mean, I really in high school, I remember just always buying the Vogues, the L's, the Harper's Bazaar. And I think fashion just creates this sort of dream-like state for when you're looking at these images and these worlds. And which is awesome and fun to look at, but it can feel unattainable in a way. So I think I've worked my whole career to like really, get into the luxury industry, make those connections, build up that network, and then take what I know and make it something that, is more attainable now, especially with COVID going on and everything. Luxury is like really going through a reckoning. You can't just be speaking down to people. You need to be speaking with people. So, but part of that journey is really, really like building that network in the industry. I mean, I've worked so hard to stay in touch with old bosses, Ralph Lauren, Gucci, Christie's, all those people. They are such important stepping stones to your next career move. And I would not be where I am without cultivating those relationships.
So, Lauren, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How did you deal with the no, or nah, this doesn't fit here, or maybe perhaps I see you're excited about it, but this is not what we're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten that a lot. I've gotten that a lot when I was looking for my first job in New York. So I interned all through college. I went to USC in LA, and being in LA, there's obviously a ton of fashion internship opportunities. So I always interned. And then moving out to New York is obviously a much different ballgame. USC is an amazing school, but you've got, people from these crazy Ivy Leagues with crazy connections, and it is really, really hard to get your foot in the door. I mean, my first 2 years, I could not for the life of me get a full-time position. It was a temp position, no benefits. You're slaving away. You're making like minimum wage. I mean, it was pretty awful, to be honest. And they don't really care. I mean, it's such a competitive field and there's so few positions. It's not like finance or what have you, where it's like the new class brings in, 200 new associates or whatever. It's not like that. It's like there's one position at one fashion house. And I think for Dora Maar too, I mean, I built this company from the ground up, like no funding, none of that. Like it's scrappy me and a few other old colleagues of mine from my past job, really putting it together. And in March, we opened a little studio in Brooklyn that we're really proud of. So we don't have to shoot in my old co-founder's basement. And so it's interesting to see all the yeses coming in the past 24 hours after you get, a validation like that. But I think I listen to a lot of, entrepreneurs and women entrepreneurs, Roslin, like you were saying, are really important to me, because I think 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a no. And you just have to have such conviction in what you're doing and know that yes is coming, and just do not stop. But it's tough. We all know that as entrepreneurs, though.
Do you feel in the luxury industry, it's a male dominated industry, whereas someone like yourself may have been told, you maybe you should be in front of the camera, or you should be on the red carpet, or, doing a fashion show, as opposed to being the CEO of your company?
Yeah, it's interesting. So fashion at the very, very top is male. But the rest, the kind of minions on the bottom, are all women who are severely underpaid. I mean, fashion is the income gap between the higher ups, in the boardrooms with the suits on, and, the women who are making these companies run day to day, is quite vast. Because it is, a billions and billions of dollar industry. So there's a lot of money in it. So, I think there are a lot of women trying to break those barriers and take the reins and take the helm. And so I'm trying to learn how to navigate that as we speak. And especially as, we're gearing up to kind of go out for funding and look for investors. It's really important to me that it's, a very different group with different experiences, not so homogeneously, male focused. It's really important.
So Rosalind, a question for you. We just discussed, fashion and luxury as far as being a male dominated industry. Real estate in the past, as we've known it, has also been a male dominated industry, but now you're starting to see more and more women go into the industry as well.
Yes, that is correct. And it is primarily still male dominated, but I will just kind of switch and transition to commercial real estate. It's still, women are almost extinct, like very, very few, but you see us rising. And what has been successful for me, especially when you're trying to make that hard turn from residential to commercial, is to collaborate. You know, collaborate, get up under the wing of someone who is already doing it. I mean, this pie is so big. Yeah, there are those who are very, very secretive and territorial. So, you know, you can't expect people to just hand you a buffet and a platter and say, hey, yeah, come on board. You really have to keep knocking. You know, like Lauren said, you really have to dig your heels in. You have to take no as just not just right now, and just keep plugging away. And you know, it's almost like that I am entering a second career, which is brand new, because to talk about, you know, creating, developing, building, and offering affordable workforce housing, that takes millions. You know, but we have the talent, we're building the teams, we're getting the conversation out there. And again, Sharifa, I appreciate your allowing us to come on board and talk about it. You know, that's the next big, huge project for Arbrook Realty, is to collaborate with commercial developers, you know, find the funding, the equity, you know, get the civic community on board to understand that the landscape and the fabric of our communities have to look different if we're going, you know, to level the playing field and make it just for everybody. Because the truth is, there are essential workers right now that are in pipelines having approved mortgage loans, but they can't find anywhere to stay anywhere near where they work. So their commute is an hour, hour and a half one way. And we know that when families, especially mothers, are away from their children, you know, 3 hours a day because they're commuting, that's time that they could be devoting to building their households, strengthening their families, educating their children. So it's only a win-win that, you know, our civic community and, you know, the people who live in affluent neighborhoods that have gated communities that say not in my backyard, that we begin to understand that when we put community first and we're inclusive, our world is better.
I definitely agree. We all need to be inclusive. I'm speaking on a panel tomorrow. I believe, Lauren, you're on the panel as well at 12 noon Pacific time, 3 o'clock Eastern, where we're discussing for the second time race relations in America. We all have to sit down, make this world a better place. And that, to me, always starts with a conversation.
Yes, yes.
And I think that's what's been a big turning point for me right now. What Roslyn was saying about community and inclusivity is just, and you know, is sharing our own stories and inspiring others to do the same, to start that dialogue. I mean, that's what's really been game changing for me, is being able to speak who I am and how that shaped the business. Specifically, just being biracial and what that means in fashion, and you know, inspiring other women to you know, start that change and that conversation is I think when we start to do that, you start to see change and people get on board because they want to be a part of something or someone who's sharing a truth. And there's so much power in that.
It is so much, so much.
I definitely agree. And Helena, you're working on your school for boys now, correct?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that journey, please.
And that started because basically today, my son is 19 years old, and I'm a single mother. I'm a widow.
Sorry to hear that.
And raising a non-Caucasian mixed with Arab child, Middle East, he really does.
Okay, so we look like we're having technical difficulties.
he is, basically, and become a man. Okay. And then grooming him to go into his own life. This is a new stage for me right now. It's been very awakening for me, watching this young male child turn into this man standing in front of me. So a lot of what I do is based upon who I want my son to become. And what I had to realize today is it's not about him at all. He might not become what I'm trying to groom him to be. And I have to accept that. But I can help others. I have enough experience now to give back. So that's why it's about me now. That's my realization of this day. He was just part of my journey to make me where I am.
Mhm.
I think that's beautiful. And it always starts with our own personal journey, our own personal story. And I like how he motivated you to be a better you. So why or how did you come up with the idea to start a school for boys specifically?
Basically because of my situation with him.
Mm,
He was dyslexic, and you know, I just saw how I was a teacher, how boys and girls differed in the classroom, and then I was teaching all boys and then all girls, and I really loved being in that classroom with those all boys. You know, that really put me through the test, and I decided, you know, I want to, because these boys are the future fathers. They're the future leaders that even though a woman can do anything now, it's still a man's world. And the woman actually has to get in her place. And from she, he comes.
Yeah.
And then they partner up. So it's a cycle. And I would just want to if I just do one thing for a male to help women in the future, that's my legacy that I'm trying to leave here.
I love that legacy. I think that's the most important thing, and that we don't always take into account, because for years, especially in certain races or communities, there wasn't anything to leave to future generations. So I love the focus now on creating that, so our future generations, great grandchildren, don't have to go through the same situations that we're going through. And I think that's what Roslyn was talking about earlier. She didn't just create a real estate company. You know, to me, that's just one piece of the puzzle. Instead, she said, okay, let's look at different ways to build wealth and to create wealth, which is pretty much what Lauren was saying as well. You didn't just do this for you. You did this for, to me, it seems like for a lot of different people, so that you can open that door for them.
Yeah, I think what Roslyn was saying too, it's just clothing right now for me is just the vehicle. There's so many other ways to like build community, share stories, give women a platform, to put the spotlight on different things. And so, you know, right now, obviously we're like a 5-person team, so we can only handle so much, but I'm, you know, in the future, really want to expand on what that means beyond clothing. And so I think, you know, what Rosalind and, you know, Helena is saying, this goes beyond just what we're doing now. This is about legacy and community.
Well, when you speak, Lauren, you speak in such a humble way. And you have mentioned repeatedly that you're new, you're just starting out. You said we only have a 5-person team. And that's an accomplishment. You will see companies that have been around for years, 10, 15 years, and haven't built up to 5 people or to even having employees. That's one of the discussions I tend to have with business owners. They seem to, or entrepreneurs, they seem to get stuck in that solopreneur, in that mom and pop. No matter what the revenue is, they get stuck there. And at least you're thinking about expanding, because the whole reason we're doing any of this is for small businesses, which are the heart of America. So to create small businesses, it allows us to create jobs, to me, which is so important for all of us. Because if you know, if we don't have small business, the heart stops. And what happens when the heart stops?
Yeah. And I think for entrepreneurs, you become very obsessive and controlling. It's your baby, right? Like these brands that we build. But it's been really important for me to know I am not the expert at things, at everything. Like, yes, I built this brand, I have a vision for this brand, but like, I can't be the PR girl and the analytics girl. You have to give that to people who have solely focused on those things if you really want to grow your business. In a smart way and with people that know their stuff. And so it's become important for me to like let go a little bit of that control.
Well,
It's very important.
I tell you, you're all in my cereal bowl and the Cheerios and the tricks because you're so right. Once you have a seed inside that you're birthing, this is your dream. This is a God-sized dream. And so it's like my baby, and it is. It's hard to let go and delegate those $10 an hour, $15 an hour jobs to someone else. Yeah. Although capital is an issue for small businesses.
100%.
But what I have learned to do, and community is a part of our model for success. And what that looks like and means for Arbrook Realty is I decided, 3 years ago, it would be important for me to join different boards, like have a seat on a board, have a position in like the chambers of commerce, because you get to do life with people there and work on committees, and you end up learning vital information that you really need to know, quote unquote, without having to really hire somebody, because you're there together and you're working on projects, or you learn of resources like here in North Texas. One of the vital resources that we have for small business owners include the Small Business Development Center, SCORE, which is funded by the SBA, to help with business plans. And even more recently, I learned that the North Texas Workforce Center has programs for training for your nonprofit. And they even have a subsidized employee program where they pay up to 50% of your employees. So that would be very helpful for, like you said, Sharifa, for those solopreneurs. So being involved in community, joining a board, becoming a member of your chamber of commerce is very vital.
So what about people who want to learn real estate and who want to get into that industry? What are some ways that they can learn?
Well, first and foremost, and I say this not jokingly, but jokingly, I really try to talk people out of it.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. And here are some startling statistics. So if you are going after a real estate career that's in sales, 87%, I did say 87% of the licensees do not last beyond the second year. A couple of reasons. They are underfunded, realizing that the work that you do today, you may not get paid on for 30 days, 60, 90. And if it's a bill job, it could be eight months. So what they need to understand is you still have a cost of doing business, because as a real estate professional, more than likely, you're going to be an independent contractor. So really, you're operating your business within someone else's business. That business owner is called a broker, who has to be responsible for you. So if you don't, or if you're not making commissions to pay those reoccurring fees, then you're already in the hole. And so I really think a lot of people are underfunded when they go into it. We say people should really have 6 to 12 months of reserves for their monthly expenses if you're going to go into the real estate career. But subsequently, a lot of people are trying to transition from corporate America, like I did, into a real estate career, but they're holding on to that full-time job. But to be successful in real estate sales, it is a full-time job. So there are a lot of people working double time, or they find that they just can't serve their client like they need to, or be able to do the daily activities that it really takes to lead generate and prospect properly. So they end up exiting the business.
What have you seen recently during this quarantine, the COVID quarantine, in terms of real estate, corporate real estate, residential real estate, buying, selling? What are the trends that you see?
Okay, so I can speak for Texas, but I believe I have a macro answer for you. So what we see basically is that a lot of people are purchasing homes when they can just by looking at a virtual tour.
Okay.
Some homeowners are saying, if you can, please make your decision based on that. But we are eliminating in the same car tours.
Mhm.
Our clients are traveling distant from us. We are wearing masks, gloves where required. Some homeowners are asking us to take shoes off, put on slip guards, use your hand sanitizer before and after. But it's changed the way we do business here.
Mhm.
We're being very, very cautious. A lot of homeowners have put a halt on their plans for possibly moving, um, which is creating a shortage or supply of some homes in a specific category. And that would be for first time home buyers, because they are just not sure if they're going to be furloughed, laid off, or if they're going to have an income. But on the flip side, there are some who are saying, I'm not going to delay my dream. I'm an essential worker. I'm ready. I'm ready
Mhm.
to stop renting and buying. Now, from a commercial real estate standpoint, a lot of restaurants, um, they have been forced to only operate at 25 to 50% capacity. And I don't know how long that restaurant industry is going to be able to take that beating
Mhm.
and, be profitable. But we will see, I think, in the next 8 to 10 months of really where we're going to be in terms of foreclosures, people hopping off and saying, I just can't do this anymore.
That was interesting when you mentioned the restaurants. I thought the same thing, especially when I saw that Uber just purchased Postmates. I was like, okay, so now all of a sudden it's just going to be more delivery, less restaurants. But I know I'm a Postmates person. People talk about me. I do way too much Postmates. Lauren, what have you seen as far as the trends during the quarantine? Because I know people have been shopping online, they've been ordering. What have you seen?
I think when COVID first hit in March, and that's when New York got really bad, like as a small business owner, especially in luxury fashion, like I sort of panicked. I was like, talking about luxury feels so vapid right now.
Right.
I have no desire to talk about luxury right now, but I have to run this business. Like, what makes sense? And I think fashion across the whole playing field was the same, because we are not essential, right? Like luxury is a dream, it's pretty, it's fun, but like we're not essential. So
Right.
what does it look like when there's so much suffering, so much pain, so many people out of jobs? So what we really did is that's when I really kind of dug into community more so than I ever have. And
Mhm.
that's kind of flourished since then. So we did this really fun kind of Instagram series. I had a client, let me backtrack. I had a client that purchased something from us when we were doing a partnership with City Meals on Wheels, right when COVID
Mhm.
hit. And that charity delivers meals to the elderly, vulnerable population in New York City that obviously was in dire need. Is in dire need still, but in March especially. She purchased something from me and she posted on her Instagram what I'll wear when I'm out of sweatpants. And I was like,
Oh,
that's
wow.
really cute. Because I was
Mhm.
like, no one's gonna wear a fancy dress right now either, even if you like do want to buy something. So we
Mhm.
ended up doing this whole series where I just had like friends, clients, friends of friends, post videos of themselves about how they're staying sane in quarantine, um, businesses they're supporting, whether it be like virtual workouts or small local restaurants they're doing takeout from. And it really became me, a small business, propping up other small businesses, and they would repost us and we would repost them. And so it really created kind of like where we're at now. And it's just being with the people that are part of your brand, not just speaking at them. And I think the luxury brands right now are trying to figure that out. The big fashion houses, no one can do any crazy things anymore. Like we're all virtual here.
Right.
That's how we have to be. And so it has in a weird way leveled the playing field on who
Yes.
really wants to be in touch with their community and grow that, and who doesn't. So I mean, we're still trying to figure it out, but that's how we've done it in the past few months. And I think I think it's resonated with me. So,
And at the end of the day, that's what matters. But I completely agree.
Sales didn't die, so that's good too. So
The bottom line, it resonates with the bottom line. So that's what matters. But I completely agree. One of the things that was a blessing in this whole curse for me was that doing the talk show now, the playing field is level. You have all the talk show hosts in the world, no matter who they are, from the Wendy Williams to the Jimmy Kimmel's to the Trevor Noah. Trevor Noah does his show from his bed. Like, I don't know if you've seen this. And I'm like, Trevor, like I literally yelled at, like, Trevor, get out of the bed. Like, I know you're at home. I love me some Trevor Noah. That's my crush. I gotta find him and meet him one day. I love that man.
I've seen him in Starbucks. He is very cute.
Okay, well, I'm gonna come hang out with you, and then we gonna go stalk Starbucks, and we gonna pretend. Oh my God! Like, I had no idea you'd be here.
Exactly.
But it definitely leveled the playing field. So, with luxury fashion, one of the things that I've seen in California is when all the stores were closed, the governor made this speech. And he was doing it live, and then it had the comments. And in the bottom of the comments, I don't know why it stood out, but it's just the way Facebook did it. It was a comment that said, "When is Ross reopening?" Mm-hmm. And I was like, this lady has asked a question that everybody really wanted to know. It's like, Ross is closed. Now, we understand there's a global pandemic, the world is, but when is Ross going to open? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think retail stores are going to, before COVID, it was already a reckoning of, like, what do brick and mortar stores mean to fashion right now? And a lot of them are turning more experiential. And and Roslyn, it'd be interesting to get your point in real estate. I don't see them going away, but I think the form in which they are in is going to be different. I mean, obviously everyone has really leaned into e-commerce, but people love that store experience still. And especially with fashion, like, you got to see the clothing, you got to try it on. There's like a whole buy-in to the world of the brand. So I don't see it going away, but it definitely will change in what it means in the communities that they're in.
Well, when I started my business, it was based on the industry of a VOT, virtual office team. Mm-hmm. So we really had that concept in mind. And actually, I thought that would be perfect for us, because what I had realized before I went into business is I had counted on one hand in 4 years how many people were just dying to get to the office before they would do business with me. And it was only 3 or 4. So I said all that to say no one cared. So I'm like, I'm not going to go out and, get into this long-term lease for a pretty building, just to have a business to say I'm in business. So I think more and more, everyone in the real estate industry has had to transcend and convert. It's going to be here to stay.
Roslyn, do you see yourself taking, because this is one of the things that I've seen change with the panelists, is people incorporating some of the new virtual changes into their new normal. Like, some people had never thought of doing virtual tours, but now that they're doing virtual tours, they're going to be hard pressed to do at least as many tours as they did before. What are your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. Actually, customer service, I believe, even with our digital age, even with going virtual, whoever can serve their client the most optimal way is still going to be the one that's going to stay in business. So somehow, some way, we are going to have to offer over the top customer service, as well as bring that experience to, their fingertips. And so with that being said, as an example, one of my clients, she and her husband had opposite schedules, and they had already been burned a little by another real estate experience. And so I'm like, okay, what are we going to have to do to really win them over? Because unfortunately, in the service industry, when we get people who have been wounded, we're the other person until proven innocent, so to speak. That's just how it is. But what we were able to do was primarily old-fashioned boots on the ground, understanding your client's need, getting out there, touring homes for them. I was able to do a series of video, and I put together the neighborhood, the amenities, and I did a video, sent it to them, and they pretty much purchased sight unseen. I mean, they did look at the property, but they were sold on the property based on the work I did for them to get out there and find what they wanted, instead of sending them a list and saying, hey, which one do you want to see? I just knew what their specific needs were and where I had to meet them in terms of customer service.
I can imagine. I had another guest on the show who told me that he was in real estate, and I believe he was in New York City, if memory serves me. But at 44, my memory's not what it used to be. But he said he made more money during this time frame because he was able to have more virtual appointments than he'd ever had before. So he was closing more deals, having more clients, more sales, more happy people than ever. So it's interesting to see who's going to continue on this path. But then there are some people who just like the whole social aspect, you know, interacting with people, talking to people, different industries. Some people are ready to go back to in-person meetings, sitting down, talking with clients, and not this whole Zoom effect. So it really depends on the person and what, you know, what they prefer.
Well,
I'm a Zoom person.
If I may add, and you'll probably see to your left, maybe somebody else is right if they're looking at this, the Building Wealth Together, Back to the Basics emblem. That is a radio show that I have collaborated with professionals in their field of credit, insurance, money / mortgage, and real estate. So we have a 4-person team, and we believe that is the basis and the basics for the foundation of building wealth. Okay, if you don't have the money, you're going to have the credit. Okay, so let's get people in position, especially during this time, so that they can reclaim, rebuild, and restore their lives. And we love that. We're on KHVN Heaven 97 970 AM radio every Saturday from 12 to 1. And we're just sharing the knowledge, taking those practical tools and biblical tools and colliding them, just helping people be aligned with what's already theirs, their inheritance.
I think that is so beautiful, so wonderful. Now we are coming down to the last few minutes of the show. And what I love to do at the end of every show is just simply allow my guests the opportunity to speak directly to the audience, to everyone who's watching the show live, as well as everyone who's watching in the archives, and simply let them know what you want them to take away from your appearance. And we're going to start with you, Lauren.
Oh my goodness. Well, what's the takeaway here? I think it's just, we got to keep sharing, keep talking to each other, and keep propping each other up. I mean, we are humans at the end of the day, and we need each other to get to the next step. And so I'm going to keep relying on that. And you know, Sharifa, thank you so much for putting this together and being able to meet, you know, Roslyn and Helena in this virtual world that we all live in. But I know our paths will cross. So that's just really a beautiful thing. So thank you.
Absolutely. Our paths are going to cross tomorrow.
Yeah,
we're going to have
tomorrow. So
yes. We're going to have those deep conversations, those deep discussions that change the world.
Yeah.
Helena, what do you want your takeaway from the show to be? We weren't able to give you that much time, so I want to give you a few minutes. Helena, are you with? Okay, Roslyn, what do you have for us?
I think she's back.
Yeah, I'm back. Hello.
What do you have for us, Helena?
I didn't hear what you all said, but I just know that you were shutting down. And what I wanted to add to everything that I've just heard, basically, it's about communities collaborating, coming back together to the basics, and that you can have a luxurious life in spite of the situation that we're in, if only you give the best customer service to make everyone feel special. If you keep that in mind, people will just come to you because they'll feel special and luxurious.
I love that.
I think that is
And
so,
getting their services. I'm sitting here taking literally notes on what, and I'm going to apply it.
I think we all have to apply it. That's the key. We get all this wonderful information, we take it in, people come and talk to us, they tell us how it's done, but then we forget the application process. So that's what I hope one of the things we all learned here today from our guest. Rosalind, take us out, please.
Yes. So, one great thing about this invitation to be here is that we are together. And as you can see in the emblem, building wealth together, that word just really resonates with me. And I think it's an important time more than ever that we link arms, we link shoulders, we link hearts to do this together, because I is an island and there is no I in team. And it's a vulnerable thing to say for some that I need you, I need him, I need her, and especially in these times. And I've taken such valuable information from each and every person. And I think as a people, if we would just spend more time not trying to tear down each other, but look for the gold in each other, there's something that we can see there and we can build upon. So, I would just say, hey, go after your dreams, never quit, never shrink back, but don't, be relentless and be bold, Sharifa. I like what you said in the entrance of this show, is that you ran for an office, but look, they couldn't stop you. You got a platform, you're still plugging away, and that's inspiring. So I thank everyone for listening and just lending an ear.
I thank you. I thank you all for being guests on today's episode of the Roundtable Talk Show. I especially want to thank everyone who tuned in to watch the show live, as well as everyone who is watching it in the archives. But don't just watch the show. Please go ahead and share the show. And then when you finish sharing the show, please go to the Facebook post and take a look at the information for our guests. Please visit their website, follow them on social media, send them an email, tweet, inbox, whatever you have to do. But when you contact them, please let them know Sharifa Hardy says hi. And if you are interested in being a guest right here as a panelist on the Roundtable Talk Show, please visit the website at asksharifa.com. Until tomorrow morning on our TGIF episode, everyone have a safe and a blessed day. Bye now.